Hey, it's Lemon. Welcome to the Backlogs. Hope you're doing well. A hot minute ago, I did a video showcasing the axes of Dark Souls 1. We laughed, we cried, we absolutely demolished the game, but there were also several very confused comments. Comments all asking the same thing. Hey! Fruit Man! Where's the great axe? Well, my dear confused viewers, you kinda answered your own question. Because as it turns out, the great axe is a weapon class of its own, and is completely separate from the axe class. Now, why axes and great axes get two separate categories, while halberds and scythes do not, is beyond me, but I can only go off of the information Papa Miyazaki gives me. And he says that great axes are their own weapon class. So, with that in mind, let's talk about how to beat Dark Souls 1 with only great axes. Oh, and one more thing. Before we begin, real quick announcement. The Lemon Plushie 2.0 is still for sale. It's over on Makeship. If you want it, go get it. Link in the description. Okay? Okay. Right then. Unlike the last couple weapon types we've done, this class actually requires a bit of puzzling on our part, which is very exciting for me, because that means I get to take you on an adventure. Contrary to popular belief, we can absolutely get a great axe after leaving the asylum without killing any bosses. But it's a bit of a hike, and requires some tactical sprinting. So I hope you brought your big kid pants today. If you've picked the Master Key as your starting gift, you'll be able to run through the Undead Burg, unlock Havel's basement door, then sprint your happy ass past the Hydra and its multiple water blasts. Then, after hugging the left waterfall wall, you can find a semi-hidden ladder. This ladder is our salvation, and will help us unlock our first weapon. But you will have to time it right, otherwise the Hydra will tell you exactly how it feels about you breaking into its house. But if you time it so that the Hydra's last volley lands just before you get on the ladder, you'll have just enough time to scurry up the rungs before the next volley. You might take a little bit of damage, so make sure you've got full health, but it's definitely doable. After that, it's as easy as walking across the waterfall bridge, finding yet another ladder to climb, then going right once you reach the top. Do not cross the stone bridge on the left. That'll put you in the giant cat arena, which is the last place you want to be. And once you're going the correct direction, you'll just need to sprint past the entire Forest Covenant crew, yap at the cat, and join your new family. That wasn't so bad, right? Oh, sweet summer child, we've only just begun. Talk to Shiva of the East, head back through Darkroot Basin and up into Darkroot Garden, then keep walking until you get back to the entrance of the Undead Parish and Andre's bonfire. But no time to stop and admire amazing just ahead. We got more running to do. Backwards through the Undead Parish, down into the Rat's Nest, just below the Drake Bridge, and from there, you'll need to maneuver past all three rats and the Spear Hollow to get to the Undead Burg Ladder shortcut. The Spear Hollow can be a real pain, considering you've got 3 angry rats on your tail, but if you ask them politely, you should move out of the way. And with the ladder shortcut now unlocked, the next step is to go grab your favorite snacks and buckle down, because we're gonna be here for a hot minute. I'm sure 99% of you know what we're doing here, but for those that don't, if you climb up the ladder and step onto the bridge for all of 1 second, the Drake here will coat the entire bridge in flames, netting you a cool 555 souls every single time. And you can do this as much as your heart desires, which means you have an infinite supply of souls for all of your monetary needs. And today, we have a mighty need for souls. 10,000 to be precise. And once we have them, we now have to make the dangerous trek back to Firelink Shrine, down the Firelink Shrine elevator, and then directly into the Valley of Drakes, and eventually the back door of Blighttown. Please try your best not to die here. The last thing we want is to come back here a second time. How many collective souls do you think have been lost in Blighttown? Millions? Billions at this point? God, I hope someone at FromSoft has that data somewhere. After carefully navigating your way down the ladders and onto the elevator, you've just about completed your journey, because patiently waiting for you at the bottom is none other than Shiva of the East, who will happily sell you your first great axe for a cool 10,000 souls, the Demon's Great Axe. Is it just me, or has Shiva been a real boon these last couple runs? And now that we have a weapon, it's nothing but easy street from here on out. 46 strength! Well, guess the setup for this particular run isn't done just yet, because whoo baby do we have some more grinding to do. Now you could run back up to the Red Drake Bridge and get your souls that way, but if you've been diligently picking up all the shinies you've come across on your way down here, you might have a few loose souls you can pop. On top of this, Blighttown actually has quite a few large poppable souls placed all around the swamp edges, and all of them give you 2,000 or more souls when used, which is nothing to scoff at. Pop all those, and depending on your starting class, which should have been the Bandit by the way, and you're probably looking at just about 30 strength at this point in the run. Combine those poppable souls with the souls you can get from the Maneater Mildred invasion, and you should have just enough to get to 31. All you have to do for Mildred is convince her that the Blighttown elevator is the cultural experience of the year, and help her get on. Just be sure to accidentally forget to tell her how to get safely off the elevator, and you'll be looking at a cool 8,748 souls. Thanks, Dark Souls camera. No, really, love the angles you're getting there. Really makes this video worth watching. Now, I know what you're thinking. 31 is a lot smaller than 46. How does this help us? Well, if you two-hand a weapon in Dark Souls, the strength requirement is reduced. Essentially, when you two-hand a weapon, you can take your current strength stat and add 50%. So for example, if you had 30 strength, two-handing your weapon gives you an additional 15 strength, for a grand total of 45. Ergo, if we have 31 strength, the game treats us like we have 46. Technically we have 46.5, but Dark Souls doesn't round its integers when it comes to weapon requirements, so as far as Dark Souls is concerned, you've only got 46. But wouldn't you know it, that's just enough to two-hand our new Great Axe, which means we finally have a damage method and can officially start our run. Which leaves us with one very important question. Who wants some pancakes?
Ooh, pancakes. But first, a quick word from today's video sponsor, boot.dev. Does the idea of squashing bugs excite you? Interested in learning how to make your PC do exactly what you want at all times without relying on others to do it for you? Then boot.dev is for you. With hundreds of lessons available at the click of a button, you can learn all sorts of new skills. Want to make video games? Start by learning how to make asteroids in Python or Pygame. Just want to learn how to better utilize the metal box full of magic rocks in your office? Well, you can learn several coding languages to learn how to speak to said magic rocks, whether it's Python, Linux, Git, SQL, or some other made-up language. Actually, now that I think about it, all languages are made up. Hey, wait a minute! Want to learn but have trouble staying motivated? Boot.dev gamifies the learning process, which makes it more fun in the moment and easier to come back to. And it can be as competitive or cooperative as you like, either by comparing your skills on the scoreboard against other players, or by working together with the community in coding boss fights. If you want to judge the quality of the resources, Boot.dev's materials are all free to read and watch. And if you're still not convinced, they offer a 30-day, no questions asked refund policy as well. So if that sounds good to you, go to boot.dev and use my code, Backlogs, to get 25% off your entire first year on the annual plan. Now if you'll excuse me, I have some pancakes to eat. Hey, these are waffles!
Anyway, now we just need to escape Blighttown and... Alright then, have it your way. You ruined my escape, and I've ruined your day. And you know what? Why stop there? Let's make sure the message is clear. And since I'm already here, I might as well steal all your stuff. It's not like you need it anymore. As for you, you get to live. This time. But with my bloodlust sated, we can finally escape the dank swamps, then make our way through the Undead Burg and the first few bosses of the game. We still need more strength before I can show off this weapon's moveset and stats, so if you're here for the numbers, I beg your patience. But don't worry, with as much damage as this thing is pumping out completely unupgraded, something tells me we're gonna zip our way to 46 strength in no time at all. Fun fact, you can absolutely one-shot the Taurus Demon with this weapon if you want to. You'll have to backtrack to Andre and upgrade it a bit, but there is a certain satisfaction from knowing that you can use an enemy's weapon more effectively than they can. But now for the big question. I'm not used to using giant, big bonk weapons. Do I try to stay light, or do I accept my fate and become an unbreakable tank? Well, I guess that answers that. Say hello to the Firebomb Academy Armored Division. We may take a beating from time to time, but we don't feel it. Yes sir, things are looking... When the hell did this happen? I swear, Lautrec's questline is so wonky. Apparently, if you grab the Firekeeper soul in Blighttown and the Firekeeper soul in the Undead Parish, that's enough for him to murder your Firelink Shrinekeeper. I could have sworn there was a third criteria where you needed to ring at least one bell as well, but apparently that's not the case. Turns out, it's the Firekeeper souls or ringing the Bells of Awakening, not and. Ah well, the more you know. Guess I'll just have to take out my illiteracy on everyone around me. That's a nice health bar you got there. Be a real shame if someone were to go and delete it. What is this supposed to be, a peace offering? Get this weak shit out of here. I'm here for a great axe, not a mediocre axe. Probably should have added a resin to my weapon. Would have made those hits into one-shots and been a lot more impressive. I also noticed that the gargoyles were still able to stagger me, and that simply won't do. But I've got a solution for that problem. The Wolf Ring, which grants you 40 poise. For those of you wondering, 40 poise is massive. The fully equipped Elite Knight Armor has 46 poise, while the fully equipped Havel Armor is 121. So being able to use a single equipment slot to get that much extra poise is a game changer if you're planning on tanking hits. And while this type of gameplay is completely foreign to me, I'm open to trying new things. Time to dump all of our points into strength, stamina, and hit. Sorry, just thought about increasing my health. Because I've got another ring slot to play around with, I grabbed Havel's ring as a shortcut to having better carry weight, and after patiently pancaking the Lord of the Cake until he died, and proving exactly how viable having more poise can be when I shrugged off the Capra Demon's strongest attack, I finally had enough souls to get to 46 strength. Which means we can finally talk about this weapon's moveset. Good lord, what a mess of a video this is turning out to be. Right then, the Demon Greataxe. Picked up from Shiva or by a very lucky drop from the Taurus Demon, its one-handed light attacks are slow slams, its strong attacks are slow horizontal swings that can technically be combined if you have the stamina and the time to do it, and its two-hand light attack moveset is more of the same. The two-hand strong attack is a bit different, with a slower, heavier slam attack that eats your entire stamina bar, and its roll and backstep attacks are kind of what you'd expect, with the roll being a horizontal slam, and the backstep leading into a quick downward attack. The real surprise, however, is this weapon's jump attack. I don't normally cover the jump attacks because they're almost always lackluster versions of a regular attack, but this one is different. In its infinite wisdom, Dark Souls thought that the Demon Greataxe's jump attack should do the same damage as its slow, two-handed strong attack. You know, that attack that takes a full 2 seconds to charge and is the strongest attack of the weapon? Yeah, no, now you can have all the damage and almost none of the windup. Absolutely buck wild. Even more buck wild are this thing's stats: A scaling and strength, and a base damage of 228 at plus 10. This thing is an absolute powerhouse. Of course, its insane strength requirement and whopping 22 pounds definitely offset that a bit, but if you're already planning on a chunky build, it's not that hard to account for. But the ride doesn't stop there, because just as I finally finished talking about the Demon Greataxe, we have our second weapon of the run, the Greataxe. Full stop. Want to smash everything into the dust but don't want to completely dedicate your build to becoming the world's strongest undead? Good news! The Greataxe has you covered. With even better base damage, and coming in at only 14 pounds, this axe is a great substitute for that monstrosity we were just using. The moveset is essentially the same, but all of the attacks are slightly faster, and while there are a few minor differences in the angles of the attacks, and the stamina costs are slightly less than the Demon Greataxe, you won't be relearning an entire new moveset, which is kinda nice actually. The damage is still insanely high, and the jump attack is still king. Your weapon is just noticeably sharper this time around. And while the damage is lower than the Demon Greataxe, it isn't by a devastating amount. The Demon Greataxe at plus 10 and 46 strength does 517 damage, while the Greataxe does 474, which does come out to be a 40 damage difference. But does 40 damage really change anything when that difference is circling 500? The only real problem this weapon has, in comparison to its uglier brother, is its range. I just want to hit this damn tail, and for the life of me, I can't seem to get it. Come on, give me the tail. Not what I meant. Maybe just stick with the Demon Greataxe for specific tasks. But hey, look at that, another Greataxe. Let me just remove this obstacle real quick before we do our comparison. There we go. And now we can go ahead and see what, 50 strength! What the fuck? Alright, well, after beating down Quelaag and gathering another 20,000 souls, I can finally use our new weapon in all of its forms. Who would have thought there would be a run where I actually needed to ignore my health stat in order to make it work? I mean, I was gonna anyway, but still. Right, the Dragon King Greataxe. Obtained by removing the tail of what is presumably not the Dragon King, this is a dragon weapon, which means the only way to upgrade it is with dragon scales. Big yikes. It also requires 50 strength to wield, is 24 pounds, and has 0 scaling whatsoever. So all of that strength isn't actually helping. As far as movesets are concerned, it's literally the same as the other axes, except for its two-handed strong attack. You hold the Greataxe up and slam it down, creating a shockwave all around you. Now, this does cost 50 durability, and the weapon only has 400, so you'll only be able to blast enemies to death 8 times before breaking your weapon. But you probably don't need that many. And you definitely won't need that many when you realize you can apply resins to all of these weapons. You would think that because some of these weapons have strange origins that it would take away that ability, but nope. Even the Dragon King Greataxe can be buffed, which means if you're willing to grind out 10 dragon scales, get a minimum of 34 strength, and then dump even more points into intelligence or faith, you could make this weapon into a one-shot machine. Sadly, the buff doesn't apply to the shockwave, but if you manage to hit your target with the blade, it'll take both the physical damage of your weapon, the elemental damage of your buff, and the damage of the shockwave. Combine that with the red tearstone ring, and you've got a one-shot build in the making. Why do I keep thinking about one-shot builds today? In other news, I think I see why people like this weapon type. Not only does it look incredibly cool on your person, but it just works. Press a button, get souls. No fuss, no muss. Combine that with the fact that its attacks do insane poise damage, and any enemy that survives your first hit probably won't be able to react before the second hit finishes the job. Hell, even Priscilla only took a single jump attack to knock her out of invisibility, and now she's just falling to pieces with each additional swing. Ridiculous. What a completely broken weapon. So, is this weapon in Dark Souls 2, or? At this point in the run, we're just about halfway done with both the game and collecting our weapons. And after a short detour where I delivered justice to a certain someone who's been on my shit list for a while now, it's just a matter of poisoning my way through Ornstein and Smo, which is weirdly easier than it should be. Oh, someone's jealous. Don't worry, little buddy. I've got plenty of poise damage to go around. And there you go, ONS complete. Easy game for babies. From here on out, we're only interested in two things: more endurance and the last two Greataxes. I'm gonna be honest, I've been sleeping on some of the heavy armor options in this game. The fashion soles of the steel armor combined with the elite knight helmet is something else, though I am a bit alarmed at my new proportions. I think we might have skipped leg day a few weeks in a row. Inevitable back pain aside, we've officially planted the Lord Vessel at its final resting place, which means it's time to hunt down the remaining Lords and finish this run. And the first thing we're gonna do is hunt down our 4th Greataxe down in the Catacombs. Now, I know what you're thinking. If it's just in the Catacombs, why didn't we grab it first? And there's a simple answer for that: because it's currently being used. I also really wanted to make sure that we had the best chance of obtaining it, which means equipping the covetous gold serpent ring from Sen's Fortress, and popping humanities until you get 10 for maximum item discovery. And once that's complete, and you've cleared out the bone wheels and necromancers from the surrounding area, you can attack the Black Knight and get nothing, because the Black Knight Greataxe is not a guaranteed drop. All of that effort wasted! Now, in a fairer world, the Black Knight Greataxe would have dropped for me. And in that world, I still wouldn't be able to use it, because it has an 18 dexterity requirement. You know, that one stat that makes 0 sense for someone slugging a giant hunk of iron around. Well, since I've got a bit of time before I can even showcase the weapon, let's talk about item drop chance. Item drops are determined by 2 modifiers. The first modifier is your actual item drop stat. There's some obscure math behind the numbers here, and staring at the stat itself won't make any sense to you, but there's really only 3 things that change it: the covetous gold serpent ring, the symbol of avarice helmet, and your soft humanity counter in the top left corner. We've already discussed the gold serpent ring, which is hidden in Sen's Fortress behind a breakable wall, but I don't think I've ever showcased the symbol of avarice. Basically just a mimic chest you wear on your head. It gives you 20% more souls from enemies and increases your item find by the same amount as the gold serpent ring. And while the symbol of avarice stacks with the silver serpent ring for more souls, it does not stack with the gold serpent ring for more item find. And considering the fact that it also costs 5 HP per second to wear and adds 10 pounds to your build, it becomes very apparent why I don't bother trying to get it in any run. The third and final item that adds to your item discovery is your soft humanity in the top left corner. Basically, the higher the number, the better your item find, up to a maximum of 10. So, while having 11 soft humanity does increase your defenses a bit, it's not helping you with your item find anymore. And if you've got both of those things, that's everything you can do to affect your item find. After that, there's one more modifier that determines your chance of getting an item, and that's a hard, predetermined drop rate from the game itself using this formula here. And if you think that I understand this formula, even after spending hours upon hours of grinding out items in the region lock, you've lost your goddamn mind. But, from what I can tell, increasing your item find to maximum means that the drop chance of an item is increased by 4.1 times. So, if an item was expected to drop 1% of the time, then max item find means that it now drops 4.1% of the time. Wanna guess the drop chance of a Black Knight Greataxe? 20%, which means that I had an 82% chance of getting it and still missed it. And you all wonder why the region lock is taking so long. Now, normally, the only other chance you'd have at this weapon is in the kiln of the first flame. So even if you're as unlucky as I am, you can still get it from the respawning Black Knights that live there. But this video is a weapon showcase, and this thing is one of the best Greataxes in the game. So yeah, I won't tell if you don't tell. Also, is this weapon missing frames from its turning animation? Right then, moveset. Light attacks are slow and lengthy swings, while the strong attack is actually a jump attack, if you can believe it. No perfect timing required. The two-hand light attacks are some diagonal slashes, which is interesting, while the two-handed strong attack is a good old-fashioned golf swing. The roll attack and the backstep attacks are the same as the rest of the Greataxes, and while I haven't mentioned it this entire time, the left-hand moveset for the Greataxe is nothing special. It's either a shitty block or a lackluster swipe attack. Now, this weapon does require Twinkling Titanite, and it is a bit expensive to upgrade. But by this point in the run, you could just buy the stuff from the giant blacksmith, so whatever. And considering this weapon has better damage than all the weapons we've collected thus far, you'd be wise to spend the cash to upgrade it. Look at these numbers. 618 damage at 50 strength and the 18 dexterity. That's huge. And it does a hidden 20% more damage against demon enemies. Now, to be fair, I haven't upgraded the Dragon King Greataxe all the way yet, and if we're gonna pick a weapon for the rest of the run, we gotta do it right. So, after picking up some dragon scales from around the game, I spend a ludicrous amount of souls to upgrade the Dragon King Greataxe, and my disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. To be thorough, the Black Knight Greataxe does lack any sort of buffing ability, so there's still opportunity for the Dragon Greataxe to come out on top on a swing-by-swing basis. But I'm gonna be real with you, I don't like that weapon very much. Too slow, too heavy, too ugly, and even though it does more damage with a single button press, the actual DPS is less than the 3 swings I could have gotten in with the Black Knight Greataxe by 400 damage. Great for one-shot contests, bad for our purposes. Time for Sif and... oh wait, I don't have the key. And I'm out of poppable souls. What to do? Oh, I know. What? He was worth 1 point. I gotta admit, seeing such large damage numbers on screen and watching the health bar chunk down like that is pretty addicting. I absolutely see why people like this. I hate to say it, but I might be a great weapon convert. At least for Greataxes anyway. In any case, with our bread and butter weapon found, the rest of the run is essentially complete. Our Black Knight weapon can chop its way through pretty much everything at this point, and with that additional 20% damage boost it gets from fighting demons, walking our way through Lost Islet is as relaxing as playing a quick 9 holes in golf. Nice cock! And despite getting hugged repeatedly by the 4 kings, who desperately needed some love today, that's all 4 Lord Souls collected, and the base game complete. Which means we've got one more stop to make. The DLC. Ooh boy, we're gonna steamroll this too, aren't we? But don't worry, there's one thing we have to do here that will definitely slow us down. We have to grind the Stone Guardians for the weapon drop. With only a 2% drop chance, that means that even with maxed out item find, we've only got an 8.2% chance. And considering how unlucky I am, we might be here for... Oh. Alright then. So, the Stone Greataxe. Another Twinkling Titanite upgrade. This is another one of those weapons that suffers from being placed too late in the game to be useful. It's basically just another Greataxe in the grand scheme of things, but it does have a few strange moves. Its one-handed heavy attack has you tucking it into your armpit to get enough momentum to swing it, while its two-handed strong attack is the same one the Stone Guardians do, slamming the axe into the ground and creating an AoE. Surprisingly, this doesn't cost durability, which means this is essentially a slightly heavier, slightly more versatile Demon Greataxe. Interesting. But also unfortunate, because the Black Knight Greataxe outplays it in both damage and speed. And maybe it's just me, but it seems like FromSoft has this problem in every game. There's always some really cool weapons that look really fun to use in their DLCs, but by the time you get your hands on them, the game is already over. Which means you're already attached to the weapon you've been using up to this point, and the damage output of the DLC weapon is usually similar to what you've got as well. A wombo combo, which takes away some of the joy of finding such a unique weapon. Ah well, I guess there's always New Game Plus, if you're into that kind of thing. But as for me, I think we've seen enough. And with Gwyn fully humiliated by a weapon that was raised in support of him for so many eons, that's Dark Souls 1 beaten with only Greataxes. That was a really good time. Definitely has me reevaluating my stance on big bonk weapons. I think my next couple of runs in the later entries of the series might have to give Greataxes another go. But that's for another time. A quick thank you again to boot.dev for sponsoring today's video, link in the description, and a quick reminder that the Lemon plushie is over on Makeship doing plushy things. But other than that, that's all I've got. Take care of yourselves, be good to one another, and I'll see you all again soon.